Hello, I'm Sharanya Chaudhary. I am a DSCI certified privacy professional and I am here to talk more about the DCPP exam. Now, before I start, I'm going to give you a disclaimer that I am assuming that you've gone through the DSCI website and know what the exam is. I intend on providing information that is not available that easily on the internet and basically give my opinions on how to prepare for the exam and how to actually pass it with minimum time, effort, and money. So, this video will be in 4 parts. Firstly, I'll discuss how much I knew about data privacy before I actually gave the exam. Secondly, I'll talk about whether the study material that they give is enough. And thirdly, I'll talk about how much I spent on studying for the exam. And fourthly, I will talk about my testing experience and the things that you should bear in mind. And at the end of it, if my editing app works, there'll be a montage of everything that I was going through when I was giving the exam. So let's start with the first thing, how much I knew about data privacy. I have always known about DMT law. It was always at the back of my mind and I was always eager to learn about data privacy. It recently became something that I started pursuing pretty seriously, but there was not a point in my life where I had to teach myself on the basics of data privacy law because I was fortunate enough to work with people who exposed me to it. So before I gave the exam, I knew the basics of the DPDP Act, CCPA, GDPR. Now, I wasn't at a point where I could distinguish between CCPA and GDPR in the sense of how these two are different. I knew that they are from different countries, but I couldn't pinpoint on what makes them so different. And I did not know the data privacy regulations of various countries that I know right now. And again, I was interested in the subject, but I didn't exactly have a lot of knowledge. Now, secondly, the question is the study material provided by the DSCI enough for the exam? I'm gonna answer this question in 2 parts. Firstly, I will discuss what the DSCI actually provides. Secondly, I will discuss what is available on the internet, like apart from what DSCI provides, the things you can pay additionally for in collaboration with DSCI. Now, firstly, in my opinion, the book of knowledge is enough. If you study it well, it is enough for the exam. But when I say that, I mean that this textbook is the place from where you'll get all of your questions. This is not a guarantee, it's an opinion. The book of knowledge and the addendum, I'm including the addendum in the book of knowledge, in my opinion, are enough for the exam, but it is also because I think the exam has not been able to include the DPDP Act as well as it should have. In my testing experience, the DPDP Act did not come up. Now, let's talk about what is available on the internet. When I was preparing for the exam, I decided that I will start preparing with one of the organizations that has a collaboration with DSCI because that is the most reliable, in my opinion. So because of which I kind of paid extra for the additional training. Now the 15 to 17,000 that you pay for the exam is just the exam, the book of knowledge and the addendum. They do not give you any video lectures, they do not give you any other training except that. But the DSCI has collaborated with 3 organizations. One is ARCA, the second is Privacy Desk, and the third is TUV South Asia Private Limited. Now, I went with Privacy Desk, and the reason at that point of time was that firstly, I found their course relatively easily on their website, and second, I believe that was the only course that was available whenever you pay, right? So when I opened the website, when I started engaging with the material, I realized that they did not exactly deliver what I was hoping. The course that they have is an additional 15,000 and I was able to get a discount. The problem was that firstly, these video lectures were not updated. They were not up to date as you'd expect. Secondly, the video and audio quality was not good. And thirdly, there was just a lot of reading. If those things had been just given to me in a notebook or like in written form, that would have been much easier, because not a lot of time was spent in explaining the concepts that I was hoping would be explained. A lot of technical things, a lot of differences between different ISO standards that exist in the handbook, or differences between privacy enhancing techniques, which I was hoping I'd get a better grasp on using these courses, I couldn't have. And things that I like, the additional things that I got from here didn't exactly help me with the exam. So that's my opinion on that. If I could give the exam again, I would probably skip taking these trainings. Now, how much did I actually spend, right? This is gonna sound very stupid. I'm gonna have to ask you to not judge me. So, in the time that I prepared for the exam, which was about a month and a half, but if I'm being very honest, it was a month, I spent about 2 hours, 3 hours every day on an average to prepare for the exam. The average might be a little higher because in the last few days of the exam, I took a break from my internship and just prepared, right? So during that point of time, I paid 17K for the exam, 12K additionally for the training program that was by Privacy Desk. Then I paid extra for mocks. So I bought 2 mocks. One costed me around $600 and the other costed me around $700, if I'm being correct. So all in all, it was a decent amount. Spent around 30 to 35K on this. Anyway, so how much would I think one should spend is, I would say, obviously you have to give the exam, so you need to spend on the exam, but don't buy the associated training material. The book of knowledge is enough. I would suggest buying the mocks, but when I say mocks, I mean mock, because all of the mocks that exist on the internet that are DCPP related are all the same. I'm pretty sure there was this one dude who actually curated them, or maybe DCPP already had it on their website a while ago, and now they're just being replicated one by one. So that was not a great experience when I learned that. I don't want you to make the same mistake. At the moment, I think I know who the original person was who actually created these and put them on the internet, but I can't be sure. All of the resources that I used, useful or not in my opinion, will be linked down in the description. Now let's move on to testing experience. My testing experience was not great, but if I tell you that, I think you'll know how bad can it be. I don't know if it's the worst testing experience, but it wasn't great. So firstly, Pearson VUE hosts these tests. So you log on to Pearson VUE, you schedule your test, and then you go ahead and give it. There are 2 modes. One is the online mode, in which you give the exam at home. If you have given any competitives during the pandemic, I'm sorry, you have experience with this. So you go on to Pearson VUE, you log in, you either choose the online testing thing or the offline testing. I went with offline testing by going to a testing center. There, on the website, it's not exactly the most intuitive. I first scheduled my exam on the 1st of July, I believe, for 30th of July. And what I didn't realize is that my test actually did not get scheduled because I did not complete the process. There is a point on Pearson VUE where you feel like the process is complete, but the process is not complete until they ask you to authenticate your DSCI ID. There should not be any additional charges for giving the exam. There will not be any additional charges, but yes, until you give your DSCI ID, the process is not complete. And I found out about this a day before my exam, a day before the exam I thought I had scheduled. Thankfully, that slot was still available. So on the testing day itself, I went to the testing center. I found out that their AC was not working. It was a dingy, kind of a shady place. And when I went there, they asked me to sign a document that said that I have read all of the testing related terms and conditions, which I had not. They just didn't give me any testing related terms and conditions. And I had to be like, I didn't say it out loud, but in my head I was thinking, sir, I am a law student. If I don't ask you for this document, I don't know what I'll call myself. So I asked him for the document. He reluctantly provided me one sheet of paper, which was the second half of the exam document. And then I had to be like, sir, where is the first half of this document? Please give that to me. And then he reluctantly gave that to me and looked at me and said, nobody asks for this. And I was like, it's okay, it's all right. So they make sure that you read all of the terms and conditions of testing that Pearson VUE will be sending you. And I followed all of those instructions perfectly. But like, yeah, so I did that. Now, if you've prepared like I did for the exam, it won't take a lot of time. There were 70 questions and I believe 150 minutes. I am not 100% sure, but like that's what it was, I think. And I think I was done in less than half an hour. I would want the exam to be a little tougher, a little more difficult. I hope I passed the exam. I just hope that nobody from DSCI hears me talking about the exam and they're like, just come and give the exam again in 3 years, because the certification, the license expires in like 3 years. So I am only licensed for the next 3 years. So yeah, I really hope that they improve the exam as far as updating it is concerned, as far as including DPDP in it is concerned. And I think that's all there is to it. I would also be like, I made my own notes. I made my notes for the exam. I prepared for my notes and they were catering to me. But what I also did, what I also did was make MCQs. I made a whole bunch of MCQs that actually helped me engage with the material a lot better. So at the moment when I gave the exam, I thought it was easy and I thought it wasn't updated enough, especially as far as like if you include the addendum and the book of knowledge. But all of the MCQs that I made are from the addendum and book of knowledge, which I think I will be making publicly available. I earlier intended on monetizing it, but you know, maybe the real money was the friends you made along the way, whatever. So I will be making those MCQs public somehow, and I hope it helps. I hope it helps someone out there. These MCQs are very, very helpful in case the DSCI decides to break the pattern of questions they have been asking for a bit and, you know, introduce a few new elements. So that's all I had to say. After this, I'm probably going to put the montage of how my testing experience was and what I was thinking at that moment, because this is also a video journal. So yeah, if you're planning on giving the exam, I wish you luck. And you're gonna make it. If you've researched enough to come to this video on this niche little channel, you're gonna make it. Don't worry. Bye bye.